Hi y'all, welcome to the Sugar Scoop. I'm sugar and cake artist Shelby Bauer, and today we're going to be making this super cute and trendy basket weave and pom pom cake pop cake. So I'm going to show you guys how to make these adorable pom pom cake pops and how to do a basket weave, a diagonal basket weave without a basket weave tip, which is exciting. So let's get started. Crumble up your favorite cake recipe and add icing until it creates a dough. Don't overdo it. Some cake recipes are so moist that they don't even need any icing. Roll your cake dough into a ball. Stick the end of a lolly stick into melted chocolate, then stick it halfway up your dough ball. Chill until firm and the chocolate sets. Place chilled pop into melted white chocolate, letting it be completely submerged in the chocolate. Then when you pull it out, let the excess drain off until the chocolate starts to set. Don't worry if it's not perfect, the next step will cover it up. Pipe with a stiff buttercream icing and a grass tip. Little puffs of icing all over your pop. Try to keep even pressure. You can round out the edges of your buttercream with the palm of your hand and make lots of pom pom cake pops with all the colors that you want. So I have my cake already prepared. What we're going to be doing is a diagonal basket weave. Now, I had to figure this out and it made my head kind of hurt because it was like, I don't know, a normal basket weave already makes my head hurt, so a diagonal one. So I had my husband help me with figuring out how to do it. See these diagonal lines. And the way that I accomplished the marking is I covered my cake in fondant, and usually when you do a basket weave you just cover it in buttercream, but I wanted it to be like really nice and straight, and I wanted to be able to mark it really nicely, and I felt like buttercream would be a little bit messier. So I like to make these little templates, and it's just a circle cut out the circumference of your tier. And then you fold it in half, fold the circle in half, fold it into quarters, and then you pretty much just keep folding it until, and making sure you crease the lines until you're happy with the width. And then you'll have even lines all the way around. And then I'll just put it on top of my cake, and then I like to use my veining tool and just little marks on each spot. And I do the same thing on the bottom, and the way that I line them up is I take a ruler and I just go from, I start off with the bottom, and the way that I do the bottom is I'll take this and I'll take the cake and I'll put it onto a soup can, and then I'll put the soup can down, then I'll put my little template, and then I'll put my cake on top, and I'll be able to still see my little lines, and then I'll just mark the bottom. You can also, if your cake is really cold, you can just flip it over and then make the little marks. So I start off with the bottom mark, just any mark, doesn't matter, and take a ruler that has a nice 90-degree angle here, and then you just line it up, and then you make a mark at the top, and you can make a whole line, and then you make a mark at the top, and then you line up the marks on this with that line, and then your lines will be the same distance apart and they'll be even. And then to make your diagonal, what you do is you decide how much of a diagonal you want. I was trying to go for a 45-degree angle. I don't know if I really pulled that off, but I'm happy with the way it looks. So what I did was, the bottom here is a good example. So I have my line that I drew here. You guys can see my line. And then I marked, okay, so this is my starting diagonal. And then I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so I'm 8 over from that, and then I just took a piece of paper that had a flat edge, and then I just went and matched those up, and then made a line in the fondant with my veining tool. And then I just did this all the way around. And you don't want to make a mistake and miss one, because then you'll be completely off and you'll have to redo it. So pay attention, make sure you're doing them all correctly. I did mine opposites, so these are going this way and then the top ones are going that way. So that's how I marked the entire cake. I did it while I watched a movie and I took my time, and that's why I didn't film it, because I just was in my PJs making diagonals on the cake. It took me a little while, I don't know, maybe like 2 hours or something, just because I was trying to be really perfect. So what we're going to be doing with this cake is making a basket weave. And I'm not doing a traditional basket weave. I guess I'm doing a traditional basket weave in the sense that it's the same technique. I just changed it, same piping technique. I just changed it to being diagonal. And I also am not using basket weave tips. I don't really like basket weave tips. I just find them hard to pipe with. So I'm using PME 7. That's my PME 7. And I'm using a PME 44. And I have 2 different colors because I want my basket to have some variation in it. And I came up with a technique that I like the best, where I'm going to be alternating the colors in a certain way. It might be a little confusing at first, but it's like macrame or something. Once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it, you're fine. I'm going to pipe a line starting at in the middle of these diagonals that we made. I'm actually going to pipe my line in the middle of those so I can still see the lines as a guide. And I'm going to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top. And you want to just keep even pressure, and you can use your turntable to make it easier. It doesn't have to be perfect, but there's my line. And since I'm not using a basket weave tip, it's not going to be perfect, but I like that because baskets aren't perfect. They're kind of, you know, you get splinters from baskets and stuff. They have stuff that comes off of them. So I'm going to take my alternating color. I'm going to be piping 90 degrees from this line, not from the top of the cake. Like, I'm not trying to go straight with the cake. I'm going 90 degrees with this line. So I'm going to pipe little lines, leaving enough space in between for another one of these, actually one of these lines, because I'm alternating. So we're going to do, I'll start at the top. And the next line that's going down, remember, is in the middle of your diagonals. So you want to bring it kind of out there. I'll show you. So we're going to start close to the middle of the last diagonal. And then pipe over. And that was the wrong angle. I did the wrong angle on this one. I'm gonna take that off. So we're kind of making like a football, like laces on a football. I think I kind of forgot what a football looks like. Maybe laces on a baseball, I don't remember. Laces of some sort. And you want to be as even as possible. I know it's kind of hard. And then do your best when you get down to the bottom. That's the hard part. I'm gonna take the brown color that I just used. I'm gonna make a line down the middle of our diagonal. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on the top on this one. And I'm going right over the edges of those laces that we just made. So there we go. Now, I'm taking my alternate color, the lighter color, and I'm gonna pipe in between this line, and then I'm gonna go over and then end towards the middle of the next diagonal. And it's good to get a good anchor when you first pipe, because when you mess up on this part, it's a little harder to fix because you have so much icing in the way. My piping bag's a little full. Usually I'd have it way less full than this, but sometimes when I'm lazy, I fill it up too full. Okay, so we're at the beginning of our basket. So my next line is gonna be with this color because I'm alternating, pretty much alternating everything. So I'm going to pipe down the center, and I'm gonna be hitting the tops of all those lines we just made. And then I'm gonna use my darker brown and do the same thing. I'm gonna pipe in between these, getting myself a good start, and then ending in the center of the next diagonal. And there we have the beginning of our diagonal basket.
I wanted to show you guys the basket weave one more time up close. I'm piping my first line with my darker color. I'm using a damp paintbrush to correct my piping. I don't pipe very often, so don't judge me too harshly. Piping my lines perpendicular with my diagonal, making the spaces a little wider than my tip. Definitely experiment with different tips and have fun. Making my second diagonal line, the colors of my diagonal lines alternate and the colors of my perpendicular lines alternate. Here I didn't pipe all the way to the top. You definitely should. I had to go back and add lines where I missed. After practicing this technique more, I found that piping over the edge a little, then removing the excess with a veining tool or a palette knife looked the best. Now I'm going to show you how I completed the basket. Honestly, I did a pretty blah job at this, but I was not redoing this tier, so listen to my words more than what I actually did. Your goal here is to make everything line up. So for the future, I would count my lines to make sure that my laces on my very first row matched my last row. Then you pipe your last bits to make them look like they're going under the first row. Use a damp paintbrush to make small corrections. My basket looks a little bit like it's falling apart here, but this part will be going in the back. So my piping is totally finished. I have my basket weave all around the cake. I'm not 100% happy with how I finished the bottom on the top tier. You can kind of see it's a little messy, but I figured it out on the bottom tier. You just want to make sure you go all the way to the end. Just keep piping and it finishes off really nicely. So I need to clean off my board, and then I'm gonna put my cake pom-poms on. I'm going to use a bamboo skewer. I have some pliers that are clean. I have a paintbrush that I like the width of, so I clean the handle. I'm gonna use it to help make a hole for the cake pop stem. And I have a veining tool, and I'm gonna use that to make my initial poke. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna look and see what looks the best and find the front of the cake. Because I have where my basket weave ends, I really don't want that to be the front, and I can tell that that's right there. And then it's right here. They're kind of off from each other. So what's gonna look the best? I think right here. So I'm going to pick out where I'm putting my cake pops on the top tier. I want them to be offset, so on the top tier, I'm gonna put them over here. I guess I'll start off with one and see what it looks like. I definitely want one to be really high, so I'm gonna put one kind of offset and then towards the back. I found that starting off with the shortest ones worked the best, so that they didn't like hit each other and break off the little pom-pom pieces. Okay guys, so this is our finished product. I'm super in love with this cake. It's adorable. I love the fluffy cake pop pom-poms and the basket weave. It's not 100% perfect, but it's really cute and it photographs really well, which is nice, and it's gonna taste good, and that's always a plus. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, I'd be so honored if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting lots of new videos. I have really exciting stuff in store for you guys, so I will see you guys soon.